Are you struggling to come up with original content week in and week out? Start a podcast. Interview your ideal clients, let them talk about what they care about most, and never run out of content ideas again. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to the B2B Growth Show, a podcast dedicated to helping B2B executives achieve explosive growth. Whether you're looking for techniques and strategies or tools and resources, you've come to the right place. I'm James Carberry.
And I'm Jonathan Green.
Let's get into the show. Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. We are here today with Mikko Honkanen. He is the co-founder at Vainu.io. Mikko, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. And thanks for having me today.
No problem at all, Mikko. So we're going to be talking about launching offices in new regions and new countries today. But before we get into that, I'd love for our listeners to just understand a little bit of context. Can you explain to the folks listening, what is Vainu.io all about?
Yes. So Vainu, we're a software as a service platform for B2B sales professionals and account managers. We help them to identify best possible prospects, so best possible sales prospects, and also know the ideal timing when and how to be in touch with those people and companies. So we have built a database of more than 100 million companies, and we enrich that database with all open and public data. So for example, if salespeople want to find all software companies in California who have recently raised funding and also provide a free trial on their website, they can very quickly do that type of search in our platform and get the list of those companies. And today we're a little bit more than 100 people in 6 different offices at the moment. We launched Vainu in August 2014.
Love it. I love it. And so that's really going to be the focus of this conversation, Mikko, is launching those 6 offices since 2014. I talked to a lot of folks that are, really bullish on this idea of remote work and opening up, really a global workforce by allowing people to work remote. Companies like Buffer doing it, Zapier. I'm seeing a lot of companies embrace this. Talk to us about why you guys have chosen the other path to open up multiple offices in different parts of the world.
Yes. So of course, we also have people who work remotely and they might live in cities where we don't have offices. But really the number one reason why we want to open up offices is that we want to be very close to our customers. And since we're building a database of companies, we actually need to build the software and the service that we provide country by country. And then once, for example, the US database was complete earlier this year, we wanted to make sure that we put lots of focus on that market and have an office in the US as well. Very good way to get lots of feedback from customers when we actually get a chance to meet them face to face, and when we sign up those early users to get that unfiltered feedback directly from the market. And of course, it adds lots of local know-how into the company as well when we have local people.
Got it. Okay, so how do you guys handle recruitment when you're launching these new offices? Do you find the talent first and then you launch an office, or do you launch the office and then go find the talent? How does that work for you guys?
Yeah, typically first we decided that, we want to enter a new country, let's say Sweden. So then when we made a decision that we want to open up an office in Sweden, we always choose few existing employees who are willing to move into that new country. And the reason is that we want to transfer sort of the DNA and the culture of the company so that all the offices will be aligned in terms of how they do business and how they run the processes. But then very early on, we bring local talent as well, because we believe if we want to find the best people and really understand the market, we want to have local people as well. So it's sort of like a mix of existing employees moving into that new city and new country, and then right away hiring local people as well. And it's been a good way to make sure that the culture is aligned across all the offices. But of course, then all the offices, they can create their own unique tweaks into the culture if they want.
Got it. Okay, so talk to us about kind of you had alluded to it before, but so once you have an office stood up, what's that look like then to start engaging the local market as you're developing relationships with customers in that area? You said that was, one of the key reasons that you guys like having offices. Are you guys hosting events at that location to bring in prospects and existing customers to you? Or are you going out to them? What's that look like?
the way we do sales and marketing, we first of all we put a lot of focus on sales and marketing because we believe that the best way to get that unfiltered feedback is to actually meet with a lot of potential customers. So we have an active inside sales team, of course, using our own product so that we can identify the companies where we see the best fit with our service. And then we do lots of content marketing. One thing that is maybe unique for us, we have decided to localize the content in all the markets that we operate. So right now we create content in Finnish, in Swedish, in Norwegian, in Dutch, and in English. So that's a good way to also showcase for the audience that, hey, we actually speak your language. We have lots of interesting content out there. Typically, we also host some events. Last week, we had events in Helsinki. We had event in Stockholm. But more than anything, we want to make sure that we use our own software and identify the companies that are very good fit with our software. And then we want to make sure that we meet them and speak with them and understand their pain points. And that's the best way to get that feedback back to the product team as well.
Got it. Okay. So Mikko, I want to go back to another thing that you touched on a little bit earlier, kind of keeping the culture aligned. What are some of the things, obviously launching the office with, existing team members? What are some of the things you guys are doing where you and your co-founder are based to make sure that culture does transfer from one location to the next?
Yes. So, one thing is really that we always have those people who will move into that new city and they will work with the new team and make sure that they sort of know the DNA of the company. But then, using all these collaboration technologies, we use Slack, for example, a lot. We have lots of shared channels between all the offices. We do weekly updates and we typically get some sort of video clip from all the offices where people just showcase what they've been up to lately. We also have lots of different of like high potential programs. We have a project called The Blacksmith where we invite some of the best performers from different offices and they all fly into a new city and spend time together. So I think it's a combination of using technology so that people can collaborate remotely and also organizing and facilitating events where people meet face to face. Now in January, all the business people will fly into Lisbon. We don't have an office in Lisbon, but it's a great way to spend 4 days together. And again, if you end up spending 4 days together with others, that's a good way to align the culture and make sure that everyone knows of course, the direction of the company and KPIs and sort of Vainu way of doing things.
I love it. Have you run into any challenges as you guys have tried? What are the biggest challenges that you've run into as you've gone from one location to 6?
Yeah, I think one thing was, for example, finding the first people. That's always, we have a pretty good name, for example, in the markets where we've been quite some time, like in the Nordics, when we just place a job ad out, we get tons of applications. But remember when we opened up an office in New York and we placed an ad out on LinkedIn and a few other places, we didn't get that many applications. So we really had to do lots of headhunting. So we went to AngelList and identified lots of candidates and actively also reached out to them. So I think it's all about making sure that we find those people. And in competitive markets, if you don't have a brand name, it's a lot of hard work that you need to put in to find that key team. Because the first employees you bring in, first people that you bring in a new location, extremely important. They are strong players. And I feel that we've been successful with that, but it has required a lot of hard work from us.
And does that look like you or one of your co-founders? Obviously, you're taking someone from the existing team to plant them in the new office, but then do you empower the person that you've hired in that new office to then build out and hire the team locally? Or do you guys spend a lot of time, you and your co-founder spend a lot of time in that new city kind of doing the hiring yourself? Or is it a lot of Skype interviews? What's that look like?
It's a combination of both. So when we opened up an office in New York, the first 7 months, I actually moved to New York and together with my family lived in Brooklyn, spent the first 7 months with the team in New York. And then Pietari, other co-founder, he was doing basically the same thing in Sweden when we opened up an office in Stockholm, same thing in Amsterdam. He spent a couple of months in Amsterdam doing recruitments, finding the first customers and so on. And now when we opened up in Oslo, it was one of the first employees and he's also a partner of the company called Juho. So Juho is now running the office and making sure that they also have Vainu way of doing things. But of course, a lot of remote Skype interviews as well. And then traveling quite a bit that we make sure that we are present in all those different markets that we're in.
Got it. What have been some of the things that you have noticed that have been telling, as you're in these new areas, you're obviously moving to another part of the country, you moving to New York to spend time here. You want to make sure that time is fruitful. Are there particular techniques or things that you've done that you've found that have been helpful as you're building these new teams?
Yeah, I think number one thing is to be very, very hands-on. So if we want to bring in lots of sales and marketing people and customer success people, for example, making sure that we are also hands-on with those same tasks that they're doing. Meeting with local customers, an excellent way to see, obviously to understand the differences in the ways how they do business in terms of understanding the culture in that new location, but also knowing how strong the product market fit is from day one, and then really channeling that feedback back to other departments such as product development. But I think being hands-on is the number one thing for us.
Got it. Awesome. Mikko, I want to close out the interview by asking one last question. What would you say is the legacy that you want to leave behind?
Yeah, I think if you talk about business, I think the legacy we would like to leave as a company is simply a more effective B2B sales process, because today there's so much guesswork in the game, and we believe if people systematically use data and insights in their process, everybody will win. Salespeople will have more meaningful discussions, and buyers won't get that many irrelevant phone calls and emails, but only those relevant sales and marketing messages. So that would be a big thing for all companies out there. But then, of course, really the most important legacy that I want to leave on a personal level is the legacy that I want to leave behind is my daughter. So she's today 14 months. So when she grows a bit older, I really want to make sure that she always feels that she's had a safe and happy childhood and she's got everything she needs to live a joyful and fulfilling life. So that's definitely the number one thing for me.
I love it. Mikko, this has been fantastic. If there's somebody listening to this, they want to stay connected with you, learn more about Vainu.io, what's the best way for them to go about doing that?
Yes. So, of course, the website Vainu.io is a good way to learn more about the company. And, of course, happy to connect on Twitter or LinkedIn. Mikko Honkanen is my name. So happy to connect on LinkedIn and Twitter. All
right. And that's Vainu.io. Make sure to check it out. Again, Mikko, thank you so much for your time today. This has been great.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
If you're a B2B marketer, we want to feature you on sites like the Huffington Post, Social Media Examiner, and Chief Marketer. Every week, we send out a question related to B2B marketing. We use the responses to those questions to fuel the content we write for really popular websites. So head over to sweetfishmedia.com/questions and sign up today.
Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.